What's going on, y'all? It is Derek J407, aka Best Heel Ever, here to give you my thoughts on this week's episode of Lucha Underground. This is episode 13, so we are moving along in this series here, and this was another good episode that had two really good matches and one just brawl between two monsters at the end of it. And we learned of some matches for next week. So I'll get into all that as we go along here. So we started things off backstage in Dario Cueto's office. He had in there with him Phoenix, Drago, and Aerostar. Cueto offered to make the three of them a team in the trios tournament, but then he remembered that they were a team last year and they got eliminated in the first round because Drago and Aerostar couldn't get along because that was like right after their best of five series. So Dario scraps the idea. He tells Phoenix that his partners will be Jack Evans and the Darewolf PJ Black, and that they'll face the Disciples of Death later on the show, and that Aerostar and Drago, they'll face each other up next in a match for one of the 7 ancient medallions for the Gift of the Gods title. So that match was next, so we go right to that match, and it was a really good match. I mean, we saw 5 matches between these two last year, each one better than the next pretty much, and a similar situation here. They just have really good chemistry. A lot of back and forth. There was one spot. It was pretty scary. Was Aerostar? He was trying to do like a springboard or something like that, and he got tangled up and he slipped and he fell on the outside. He was selling his leg like it was hurt. He started to sell that injury a lot throughout the rest of the match. I thought it was a botch, but I mean, if it was a mistake and it was a botch, then I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have kept it in there. You know, they usually edit that stuff out, so I'm pretty sure if it wasn't supposed to happen, then they would have edited it out. So clearly it was there for a reason, because Aerostar proceeded to like sell a leg injury for the rest of the match, and that really didn't hurt him much. I mean, it hurt him once in a while, but in the end, Aerostar picked up the victory with a roll up over Drago. So Drago, man, every time we see him so far, you know, he's been getting beaten by just a bunch of people, or just shit's not going his way. I don't know. Maybe he needs to pick more bathroom fights. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, so Drago loses again here. Oh, next up we got I don't know what that noise was. Up next we got Johnny Mundo working out somewhere doing taekwondo or something like that. I don't know. In walked Taya, the beautiful Taya. She walked in and she informed Johnny that he will be getting his shot at one of the 7 ancient medallions next week in a match against Cage. And Johnny, he was kind of perplexed by it, but he thought, okay, well, you, being Taya, you'll be in my corner, you'll have my back and all that kind of stuff. But she told him no, because your match next week will be a steel cage match. And Mundo said, cage in a cage, like real menacingly, like cage in a cage. So this might be the first steel cage match we've seen on this show. I don't really remember there ever being a steel cage match before this, so that'll be very innovative next week. Johnny Mundo came off so corny in this little skit here. At one point, Taya, she told him like, you know, oh well, you won't be because Mundo thought he was just gonna get one of the medallions right, you know, straight up. But she told him like, no, you're gonna have a match to earn it next week. And he was like, oh, making me work for it. Classic Cueto. And it's like, ugh. And then when he delivered that, then he was talking about taking Cage to Slam Town, and then he delivered that line about a cage in a cage. It was so goofy, but whatever. I don't know. His promos are better than the promos he used to cut in WWE, so he's improved that much. But this was still pretty corny. Up next, we got the last match in the first round of the Trios tournament. It was Jack Evans, Drago, and Phoenix. Oh, I'm sorry. Jack Evans, PJ Black, and Phoenix against the Disciples of Death. They have names like Negro and all that kind of stuff, but I don't really know them. I didn't really pay that much attention to it. So, in my opinion, there's the Purple Disciple, there's the Black Disciple, and then there's the Gold Disciple. So that's how I'm going to refer to them. This match was pretty good. Jack Evans, early on, like, Phoenix wanted to get in the match. PJ started out, so PJ Black, he was looking like he was going to tag in Phoenix, but then he swiped away, and then he was about to tag in Jack Evans, but Jack was telling him, like, no, you're doing so well, keep going on. And Jack Evans kept doing a lot of this throughout the match. He refused to get in there. We tried to steal the spotlight from somebody else and that kind of stuff. At one point, PJ Black did a dive over the top rope onto the disciples that were out there, and in midair, Phoenix tagged him, so he was legal. And then Jack Evans stopped him before he did any kind of dive. So he told him to hold on and watch me, do this and that kind of stuff. And then he did some wacky dive over the top rope to the rest of them. And then the one remaining one that was left in the ring, Phoenix hit him with I think it was a 450, and they got the victory. So another unlikely team in the tournament, and they pulled off the victory. So good for them there. Then later on, we had a segment. It was Dario Cueto back in his office. This time he had the Trios champions in there with him. Evilise, Son of Havoc, and Angelico. He was telling them how, last year, you guys started out, you didn't get along, and now you not only are getting along now, but you're the champions and all that kind of stuff. They were bickering and all that kind of stuff. And they said, whoever wins this tournament, it doesn't matter because they're just going to lose to us. And Dario was like, wait, I guess I didn't make myself clear. This tournament is for the titles. So whoever wins this tournament wins the Trios Championship. And, of course, the three of them, they started, throwing a whole fit about this and all that kind of stuff. And then he told them, I'm a fair man. You guys, you advance right to the finals. And so I believe what he said is that next week there will be a multi-team match. I think some kind of gauntlet elimination or something like that. And the winner, the team that wins that match will become the Trios champions. So then they started to bicker again, and Dario looked so annoyed. He was just like, get out. And they left. And that was the end of that. And we transitioned to the Disciples of Death. They did their little arrival thing, and Katrina was berating them and all that kind of stuff. Like, Mill gave y'all one last chance, and y'all fucked it up. And worst of all, you lost to Phoenix. So, what, give me one reason why I should not destroy all of you right now. And right the fuck out of nowhere, the Purple Disciple, he was in the middle, he charges over at the Black Disciple and tears out his heart, puts his hand right into his chest, tears out his heart, looks at it, and is holding it, and then he goes over to the gold one, tears out his heart from his chest, and is holding both of them. The blood and all that kind of stuff is all over his hands. And Katrina, she gave that little smirk. She didn't look back at him, but she was kind of looking towards the not into the camera, but towards the camera that way, and she got a little smirk or something like that. So, and then we pan out for a wide shot, and we see the Purple Disciple. He has the blood and all that kind of stuff is glowing, and all that remains of the other two disciples is just a pile of ash or whatever. It was red and it was glowing. So we're down to one disciple because the one killed the other two. Oh man, only in Lucha Underground, man. Only in Lucha Underground can I buy into this. anywhere else in WWE and Ring of Honor and TNA and all that stuff, it doesn't work, but it works here in Lucha Underground. He pulled a Kali Ma on those two, and if you don't know what Kali Ma is, then you need to brush up on your Indiana Jones, the originals. I believe it was the second one, the Temple of Doom, where reaching your heart, reaching through your chest and take out your heart. So that's basically what we got here. And then we finally get to the main event. It is Mil Muertes taking on Matanza Cueto, the battle of these two behemoths. And it ended, there was no bell rung because these two just killed each other. They beat the hell out of each other. This is the most, not weak, but vulnerable we've seen Matanza so far. In Mil's case, this is the first time we've really seen him bounce around the ring, kind of getting beat up by another person. We haven't really seen that before. We've seen him get, beat up by, Phoenix and Puma and that kind of stuff, but we never really seen him bounce around this much by someone kind of the same size, but in some cases very much bigger than him. At one point they were on the outside. Mil tried to attack Dario, and then Matanza came from behind and beat him down. And then a few minutes later, Matanza was about to attack Katrina, and then Mil hit him with a chair from behind, and they were going up the stairway and all that kind of stuff, hitting each other with a gas can and all that kind of stuff. And they made their way over to the balcony and on top of Dario Cueto's office is what it was. So they were on top of that, still fighting. Mil was trying to throw Matanza off the top of it onto the floor, but Matanza, he still hung on. At one point, it looked like he was about to go over because one leg was leaning over and that kind of stuff. So it looked like it was about to happen, but it didn't happen. And they kind of got back towards the center of it. And I looked at the thing, the top of this the office and that kind of stuff. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that's a trap door right there. They're about to go through that. And sure enough, a few seconds later, Mil had Matanza in position for the flatliner. He hit him with the flatliner, and they both went crashing through the top of the office. And then on commentary, we heard Matt Striker say, the referee has ruled this a no contest, even though we didn't really hear a bell. And then you have Dario. He was on top, looking just completely devastated, shouting for Matanza. And then he had that key with him that he wears around his neck. He was holding that up, looking at Katrina, who was on the floor. And then Katrina, who was on the floor, she held up that rock, that pebble or whatever from the earthquake with Mil and all that kind of stuff. So, and Dario was yelling something about war, and all that kind of stuff. And that's how we ended things in the temple. And then we fast forward going to that police office. They showed they were showing on the wall deceased. It was Bale from a part of the crew last year, and then they had a wall of missing people like Big Rick and Alberto El Patron and that kind of stuff. Hernandez, that was pretty funny. So the lady officer, Officer Vasquez, I think, or Lieutenant Vasquez, she's the boss. In comes a man wearing a suit and all that kind of stuff. He tells her, you are pouring into my jurisdiction in Boyle Heights in the Dario Cueto case, and you don't want to do that because then you'll upset my superior. She tells him, I don't give a damn what the mayor thinks. And he tells her, don't be naive because I'm talking about someone much more powerful. She kind of backed off. Then he left, and she looked really pissed off. So, who is he talking about? Who is he? I think she said his name, but I couldn't hear it. So, all these questions, a lot of storylines going on. I'm liking it, and a lot of them revolving around Dario Cueto. So, I'm looking forward to seeing where all this goes as we move towards the finale. Hopefully that's not for a while longer, but what we get now, I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to seeing how this stuff with Mil and Matanza is gonna come to an end. So yeah, and next week we got the whole thing with the trios tournament, the finals. See who's gonna be the trios champions, and we're gonna get a cage match between Cage and Johnny Mundo. It should be a good show next week, and I'm looking forward to every episode going forward. So still a good show, and now I'm just rambling. That's it for me. See y'all later.